Welcome dear learners to yet another video lecture on promotion strategy in rural marketing, specifically focusing on the pivotal roles of public relations, publicity and personal selling. As you all know, understanding promotion strategies in rural marketing is crucial, and public relations, publicity and personal selling are the key components. Due to the complexity and significance of these topics, we have created a comprehensive 4-part video lecture series to provide you with a detailed and nuanced grasp of the subject matter. Rural markets are diverse and rich in culture. In this last video lecture, we will examine the ethical and cultural factors that marketers must consider when promoting products and services in rural areas. We now arrive at a critically important dimension of rural marketing, the ethical and cultural considerations that must guide all promotional activities. When crafting and implementing promotion strategies for rural markets, companies bear a significant responsibility to be mindful of ethical practices and deep-seated rural sensitivities. Why is this so particularly crucial in the rural context? Well, rural audiences can sometimes be more vulnerable due to factors such as lower average literacy levels, less exposure to a wide array of modern products and marketing tactics, and often a more trusting nature. Consequently, any ethical lapses can not only cause direct harm to consumers, but can also severely backfire, damaging the brand's reputation, perhaps irreparably. Let us explore some key considerations. The foundational ethical principle is honesty and transparency. Marketers must scrupulously avoid exploiting any perceived knowledge gap in rural areas by making exaggerated or false claims, or by deliberately concealing important information about a product or service. All promotional messages, whether it is a salesperson's verbal pitch, a product demonstration at a fair, or the content of a leaflet, must truthfully and accurately represent the product, including its benefits, limitations and any potential risks. For example, if a new fertilizer works exceptionally well only with certain types of crops or under specific soil conditions, the salesperson should not broadly promise miraculous results on all crops in all situations. While misleading rural consumers might seem easier in the short term due to potentially lower awareness of consumer protection laws, it is profoundly unethical and will inevitably lead to deep distrust when the truth emerges. Ethical marketing, in contrast, builds lasting trust. Therefore, many responsible companies invest heavily in training their rural sales force to communicate benefits and proper usage instructions, including any side effects or precautions, very clearly to ensure informed decision making by the consumers. Next, all promotional content must exhibit culturally respectful messaging. Rural India is incredibly diverse and deeply traditional. Promotions must respect local cultural norms, prevailing values and religious beliefs. This involves using the local language appropriately and respectfully, and certainly avoiding urban slang or idioms that might be misunderstood or cause offense. It means being mindful of religious sentiments, like for example, not scheduling a high energy promotional event during a solemn religious fasting period in a way that could be seen as disrespectful. Respecting gender norms in communication is also a key. For instance, in some conservative villages, direct and extended interaction between male sales agents and women consumers may not be culturally appropriate. Companies often address this by employing female promoters when their target audience is primarily women, such as for baby care products or kitchen appliances. Furthermore, any use of humor or dramatization for example in folk theatre campaigns, needs to be carefully vetted to ensure it does not unintentionally mock or insult local customs or figures. Cultural sensitivity is paramount. The aim is for promotions to resonate positively without causing any offense. Ethical conduct also extends to community engagement and permission. When companies plan to enter a village for a promotional event such as setting up a demonstration stall or a video van show, it is not just good practice but ethically important to engage with the local village governance, typically the panchayat, and seek their understanding, support or formal permission where required. This approach is not only polite and politically savvy, but also helps ensure the community's comfort and cooperation. For example, if a company wants to hold a video van show that might run into the evening, they should ensure it does not unduly disturb the village routine or encroach upon any sacred spaces. Incorporating local leaders, perhaps by inviting the village headman to inaugurate the event or say a few words, shows respect and can significantly help in gaining local trust. It is also vital to avoid creating a hard sell environment during community events that are primarily positioned as a service, like a free medical camp. Any promotion in such contexts should be subtle and clearly secondary to the genuine service being provided, rather than exploiting a captive audience. As rural marketing incorporates more modern tools, including digital engagement, the issue of privacy and data protection becomes increasingly relevant. Companies might be collecting personal data, for example, phone numbers from villagers to include them in WhatsApp groups or household income information for microcredit linked sales. It is an absolute ethical imperative to handle this data with the utmost confidentiality and to use it only for the clearly stated purposes for which it was collected, and ideally with explicit consent. Rural consumers may not always be fully aware of how their personal data could potentially be misused, so companies have a special responsibility not to exploit this. For instance, selling contact lists to unrelated businesses without consent would be a serious breach of trust. Additionally, during personal selling visits, respecting the privacy of individual households, such as always asking for permission before entering a home or not intruding on women only spaces uninvited, is a fundamental part of culturally appropriate and ethical conduct. Companies must also be careful about avoiding dependency or exploitation, even if unintentional. Some corporate social responsibility initiatives, if not designed thoughtfully, can unwittingly create dependency. For example, providing a crucial service for free for an extended period and then abruptly starting to charge for it, which could be perceived as exploitative if not managed with care and clear communication. Ethical rural PR should ideally focus on empowerment and sustainable solutions rather than just temporary charity. For instance, HUL's Project Shakti was widely lauded because it provided rural women a means to earn a sustainable income, thereby creating mutual benefit rather than just using them as unpaid brand ambassadors. If companies employ villagers for promotional activities such as hiring local folk troops or event helpers, they must ensure fair compensation and not take advantage of potentially lower rural village expectations. Dear learners, in personal selling, the use of high pressure tactics or pushing products that a consumer clearly cannot afford or genuinely does not need is deeply unethical. A salesperson should never coerce an illiterate or vulnerable consumer into signing up for a confusing installment plan they do not understand. Companies that discover such behavior must take swift corrective action and reinforce ethical training, as reputation, good or bad, spreads very quickly in close-knit village communities. Ethical promotion naturally includes strict regulatory compliance and safety. This means adhering to all applicable laws and regulations. For example, companies must not promote products in categories that have advertising restrictions such as alcohol or tobacco in any way that violates these rules, and especially not target underage audiences. Any product sample distributed must be safe for consumption or use and of course not expired. During promotional events like demonstrations or melas, ensuring the safety of the crowd is paramount. This could involve managing a milling crowd effectively during a prize giveaway to avoid stampedes, or ensuring that any electrical equipment used in a video van or at a stall is safely installed and earthed. Negligence in these areas can lead to unfortunate accidents which are not only unethical due to the potential harm caused to people, but would also be disastrous from a public relations perspective. Increasingly, both companies and rural consumers are becoming aware of environmental issues such as water scarcity, waste management and pollution. This brings us to the importance of environmental and social consciousness in promotions. Brands that promote their products in rural areas should be extremely careful not to ironically cause harm to the local environment in the process. For example, littering a village with thousands of non-biodegradable sample packets after a promotional event is irresponsible and sends a very negative message. Many conscious companies now ensure that their rural events include a cleanup component, or they make an effort to distribute products or samples in eco-friendly packaging, especially during large gatherings like melas. Ethically, a company's promotional actions should align with the broader development goals and well-being of the community. This might even extend to supporting causes that villagers deeply care about, such as contributing to drought relief efforts or local schooling initiatives, often integrating this support into the promotional strategy itself. Such actions help foster a sense of genuine partnership rather than being perceived a purely profit seeking, which is the ethical ideal in rural engagement. In concluding this section on ethics, it is vital to understand that paying close attention to ethical principles and cultural sensitivities is not merely the right thing to do. It is absolutely integral to achieving long-term success in rural marketing. Rural consumers can be incredibly loyal and appreciative if they perceive a brand as being respectful of their values and genuinely beneficial to their lives. Conversely, they can be quick to boycott or spread negative word of mouth if they feel a brand has offended their traditions or cheated them. Recognizing this, leading companies like ITC and Hindustan Unilever have established dedicated departments or clear guidelines focusing on rural responsibility to ensure their field teams consistently uphold the highest ethical standards. As rural markets continue to grow in importance, maintaining this hard-won trust through unwavering ethical conduct will undoubtedly be a significant competitive advantage and the very cornerstone of sustained positive relationships. Let us briefly recap the key ethical and cultural considerations essential for rural promotion. These include unwavering honesty and transparency in all communications, profound cultural respect in messaging, ensuring it aligns with local norms and values, fostering a sense of community partnership by engaging local governance and seeking appropriate permissions, upholding strict data privacy and protecting personal information, diligently avoiding any form of exploitation by ensuring fair practices and focusing on empowerment, maintaining rigorous safety standards and regulatory compliance, and demonstrating genuine environmental and social consciousness by caring for the local environment and aligning with community development goals. Adhering to these ethical pillars is not just a matter of compliance, but a fundamental strategy for building enduring trust and fostering long-term loyalty in rural markets. Now, that's a wrap on our discussion on ethical and cultural considerations in rural promotion. Dear learners, remember, sensitivity and respect are crucial for building trust and credibility with rural audiences. By being mindful of these factors, marketers can build stronger relationships with rural customers. To summarize the key learnings from this video lecture series on promotion strategy in rural marketing, let us say that we have explored the strategic application and critical importance of public relations, publicity and personal selling in the unique context of rural India. Given distinctive market characteristics such as vast geographical scatter, varying literacy levels and a high reliance on interpersonal communication, traditional advertising often falls short. Therefore, PR plays a key role in building credibility by engaging with the local communities. Publicity effectively spreads brand awareness through newsworthy actions and culturally relevant events, and personal selling provides a direct trust-based route to educate consumers, address their specific concerns and ultimately convert interest into adoption. We acknowledged significant challenges including poor infrastructure, rich cultural diversity and initial consumer skepticism. However, these are often addressed through innovative and localized tools such as leveraging village hearts and melas, traditional folk media, mobile video vans and engaging local influencers. Personal selling in particular stands out as crucial for building lasting customer relationships and providing essential after-sales support, which is highly valued in rural settings. Furthermore, we have seen that the integration of these methods with broader promotional strategies, including advertising, CSR initiatives and emerging mobile technologies, is essential for creating a truly holistic and impactful rural marketing approach. Underpinning all of this is the absolute necessity of ethical conduct, deep respect for local traditions and transparent messaging, which are foundational principles for sustainable success. Companies like HUL and ITC are often cited effectively leverage these integrated and ethical tools to build profound loyalty and significantly expand their market presence across rural India. This strategic, sensitive and integrated approach is indeed the key to unlocking the immense potential of these vibrant markets. Dear learners, as we conclude the fourth part of the video lecture series, we hope you have gained valuable insights on promotion strategy in rural marketing, specifically focusing on the pivotal roles of public relations, publicity and personal selling. Happy learning and keep up the good faith.